So everyone remembers The Gate, but this direct-to-video sequel, The Gate 2, not so much. I'd forgotten all about it myself, hadn't seen this one since it came out back in the day, so I thought I'd take another look at The Gate 2, a fresh look at The Gate 2, and why it's a lot stranger and weirder than we all remember. So the premise of The Gate 2 finds Terry from the first film living with his dad, still across the road from Stephen Dorff's old place, which is abandoned after the events of the first film. And all of this looks pretty convincing. It looks like the same location even. They've done a pretty good job with set design. And Terry's dad's in a bit of an alcoholic funk. And Terry, or Terence as he prefers to be called, is in a bit of a rut himself, to say the least. So Terry decides to have another crack at opening the gates of hell so that he can harness the magic of the minions to get his father's life on track, and his by default, and have all of the materialistic things his heart's ever desired. But of course things get kind of derailed a bit when a couple of local delinquents and the obligatory love interests stumbled into Terry, or Terence's, occult dabbling, and they realise that they can use a summoned minion to make all of their wishes and hopes and dreams come true. At least that's what they think. But little do they realise that even though said wishes come true, pretty much everything turns to caca after a day or two in this movie. Literally. Things literally turn to caca after a day or two, everything they wish for. So the original Gate was a huge hit, but I don't know that the filmmakers were that interested in coming back for a sequel. At least that's the impression I got revisiting The Gate 2. So what we get in effect is something like Joe Dante's Gremlins 2. So it's something pretty wild where the director really didn't want to tread familiar ground. So they just do whatever they feel like pretty much and make something quirky and interesting, which is kind of refreshing in both the case of Gremlins 2 and The Gate 2. I mean, this one's all familiar enough, but at least it's not too familiar, and it does go in a few different directions. I really like the whole concept of going in a different direction with the wishes than the tried and tested monkey's paw setup you normally see in movies. There's a pretty novel twist on the whole wishing process, the whole old cliche monkey's paw story, which is pretty cool when it all happens, and the effects are great when everything's turning to caca. There's a great scene involving a convertible. And it sort of keeps up the theme of the first movie, where people who know stuff just keep making everything worse. They did that a lot in the first movie, and it continues with this one. And this one would make a great double bill with 1989's Warlock, starring the late great Julian Sands, just to keep the whole demonic attempts at undoing all creation theme going that The Gate 2 has. And it is a worthy follow-up to the first film. Probably not as much of a classic as the first film, but as I said, at least they do something different with this one. It goes in its own direction, dances to the beat of its own drum. If the beat of the drum of the first movie was the band Sacrifix, the beat of the drum in this movie would be, I don't know, Rainbow or Ronnie James Dio or something like that. It does have that whole metal vibe with Terry or Terence taking the lead. So that's about all I've got on The Gate 2, the follow-up to the cult classic The Gate. And I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you did enjoy this review, by all means, please like, share and subscribe. And don't miss anything that's going on with the channel. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Take it easy.